The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision. Today's guest and their company are not affiliated with or endorsed by LPL Financial.
So for people who don't know you, could you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, so my name's Tad Martin. I've been, working for Earl's Plumbing now for, a year and a half. Started out as I was a welder for, 13 years. And then from there, went to another job, got into a quality position. Went really well for, a number of years. And then I got a little overwhelmed with what was going on there, just a lot on my plate. And so my brother, he's been working for Earl's Plumbing in Lubbock for the last 15 years. And so he started a branch here in Abilene, and he was needing a little bit of help kind of generating some business. And so he asked me if I wanted to join him, and I was a little bit, I was mentally exhausted from where I was at. And so I decided, hey, I'm going to try this. And he's the office manager for them, kind of help run the day-to-day. And so, hired me, and it's been pretty good. There's had its ups and downs, its challenges, but, that's kind of in a nutshell, what kind of kicked everything off. And so that's kind of how I've been doing, I guess, the last couple of years.
So what does running the day-to-day look like? What does that role entail?
So just make sure, that we have jobs lined up and that they're set accordingly. We have so many technicians, and then, we get an influx of calls every morning usually, and so we'll go ahead and we will look through the jobs and see which plumber is suited best to take care of that job, and then we'll assign them. And it's just a day-by-day process. It's ever-changing. It happens so quickly. It's a plans change kind of deal really quick, from like you're doing one thing to you get a call for a water heater change out that's an emergency. You try to make that priority because you want people to have hot water, relatively quickly. People don't want to be without hot water for a night too. If you've ever done it, it's miserable. So it's just about those ever-changing day-to-day operations, whether that be dealing with any kind of customers, any issues. Yeah, and so that's kind of what I handle on a day-to-day basis. Just make sure our customer base is taken care of, really. And that's kind of what Earl's has always been about since day one when they started in Lubbock, was, taking care of the customer. Simple as that. And they've kind of went off of that premise, and it's pretty much, they've set a precedence for, okay, this is how we want to run it. We want to take care of customers and make sure that we fix the problem. And so they've just gone that route for, I guess it's 20 years now. And that simple deal has, generated a whole lot of business for them. So.
Oh. Mm-hmm. So working with your brother, kind of in a partnership, it sounds like. I mean, obviously he's going to be the owner. He's going to be over a lot of things, but you're kind of, like you're saying, you're running a lot of the business.
Yes. So it's.
How does the personalities kind of collide? Do you guys work with each other very well? Do your strengths kind of align? What do you think?
I'd say we are very different. Bo he's been a plumber now for 30 years, so he has a lot of knowledge. His standard for quality is very high, probably more so than a lot. And with that, he's still out doing calls regularly, or he's on projects, and so I'm a little bit more different than him, or quite a bit more actually. I would say I try to...
Because your standard for excellency is very low.
True. No. I could say that I'm a little bit more of a people person.
Okay.
Than Bo is. He's a little bit more reserved. I'm a little bit more outgoing, a little bit more talkful. And I'd say I have a talent for being resourceful, finding opportunity. And so that's kind of where we mix and match. We butt heads nearly every other day, about something. But, at the end of the day, we're always able to work through whatever issues, we find. And it's been a good thing so far. It's been a challenging thing. He's also my best friend. So, and plus being your brother and family, you obviously are going to butt heads at times and think that we should be doing this or that. But really, it's been a good experience. And I think it's helped both of us in a path of like growing, and understanding each other. And trying to always do the right thing. One thing we always try to, between the both of us, is we try to keep integrity super high. We never try to take advantage of anybody We try to always do the right thing by everybody, and that's boded well for us. And really, that's kind of, we've done those simple things, and we've had a lot of success from it so far. So, but yeah, we're very different, but we want the same things too, though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've talked to several kind of partners. I work with a lot of business owners, and kind of anytime there's multiple personalities involved, you kind of almost want those personalities to be very different.
Honestly,
You need to be able to use each other's skills.
Honestly, there should be some friction in the workplace. I think that's when the best sides of you come out. Absolutely. There should be a little bit of struggle day to day. Both people are wanting the same things, but that friction helps because usually coming out of that, and if you're able to compromise, with one another, if you can come out of those and be, you're better for it, and usually it works out better as a business standpoint too. You get two perspectives on everything, so. Yeah. And luckily, Earl's and Lubbock, they pretty much let us manage it and run it how we see fit and find opportunities. They're very hands off, but they're there to help as well. So, it's mainly Bo and I trying to make decisions that benefit the company the best we can. So. Mm-hmm.
So how is it with the decision to go with more of a franchise rather than, say, Bo just starting a business on his own? What's been some of the benefits that you guys have seen?
Well, for starters, we have full support of a whole team that takes care of, the back end of a lot of financials that business stuff that, whether it be your tax, payments, anything like that. Really, it leaves the door wide open for us to look for opportunity. That's been a big thing. Obviously I handle some of the local things that any kind of billing or anything payment we have to do here, but the Lubbock branch takes care of all of our payroll and everything like that. And so that's been really nice. And honestly, Earl's Plumbing has, I guess Bo's been with him for 16 years now. And so he has been, I think he's actually their most tenured employee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so he has a great relationship with the owners. And really, the owners are awesome people. Like, they want the best for everybody in their organization. And so we just felt good about it, it felt right. And I mean, they treat us awesome. I mean, I don't know, we've been asked that question by several people before, why don't we start our own deal? And honestly, those people they treat us great. And really, it's been a benefit to be a part of that still and be attached to that. And they're super supportive. Yeah, we love it. And so I don't think we'd ever even thought about that, really. So
yeah, Abilene businesses seem to have a really fiery independent streak. A lot of people, especially in trades, think, okay, I'm going to do this for a certain amount of hours, I'm going to get all these certifications, I'm going to break out on my own, and I'm either one, going to be just as good as a company that they were working with before, and they don't really understand the intricacy of all of the logistics, all those day-to-day things like payroll, all the things that, it's very much of one of those, you spend so many of your hours getting really great at your craft, that does not necessarily translate into, one, a good leader, or two, just having to have the struggle of starting a business on your own. And then while you're also having to figure out a lot of things that people have already figured out and have really streamlined. Would you say that you agree with that or not agree?
I would absolutely agree that it's a struggle. You might be one of the best plumbers or whatever, electricians at your trade, but if you don't know that back end side of it and you're trying to do that by yourself and funnel your way through that, it is so hard. And that was kind of the reasoning behind hiring me from the get-go, was because, Bo was obviously, he was busy trying to work and complete jobs, and he didn't have time to look for those other opportunities. And so that's kind of where I came in, was like, okay, be this guy that, you need that help. And a lot of guys that are starting off, and some guys will end up having success, just because they're super hard workers and they're smart and they'll figure it out, But you need somebody to help you, to watch your back. And so that's pretty much what we try to do. But yeah, I mean, for new guys starting out, they might actually be great at what they do, but it is super hard to handle all that other stuff that comes along with it. And so that's what, you need a partnership or some teamwork involved in anything to be successful.
It's easy for someone to go out on their own and cover their bills. It's very difficult for someone to go out on their own and really build something that's super lasting. I mean, obviously there's exceptions to that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
There absolutely is. But they are more the exceptions. where I mean it's very much of like there's the African running proverb: if you want to go fast, you go by yourself, but if you want to go far, you go together. You find a partner. You really find people around you that are going to help you with that interest and really help you with that business. And it's kind of one of these, it's almost at a detriment where it's, I think a lot of the trades are kind of sold as, hey, you're going to have these skills, they're going to help you develop, they're going to help you get paid extremely well in certain ways, but it's that cohesion with either working with a company, working with a partner, that you can really do something great. But a lot of that isn't really what you see in the marketplace, I think.
No, and I mean it's hard to build a culture too. You know, you have to have so much go your way.
Yeah.
You know, and it is a challenge because like there's going to be times where you're not going to have, you know, the jobs or the success that you might want at times, but I mean really keeping your nose down and like just continuing to chug forward and work really hard, you know, that seems to be like, if all else fails, like perseverance. You know, you keep going, but really, and that's kind of one thing that Earl's has kind of always helped with is like they set a culture right away. They hire good people. They hire people that want to improve their lives, you know, and they have the same goals working towards, you know, with whether it be the owner or, you know, apprentice, plumber, whatever the case may be. They try to have the same goals and the same idea of, you know, we take care of the customer, we do good work, we take care of our employees, and, you know, a culture where people want to come to every day. That's really what you want to set up, is a place for, you know, somebody come to work, feel good about what they do, and have some success, and be able to whether get licensed, you know, whether they want to get their tradesmen, journeymen, or they even want to go to their masters and start their own thing, you know, like they try to set that up for them for success for later on down the road. And so they've always been super supportive of all of the employees, and we try to do the same here at the Abilene branch too. So
awesome. So how do you think about hiring people when it comes to shortages, when it comes to making sure that you have good people who are working for you? How does that kind of play out for you at Earl's right now?
I mean, it can be challenging to find, especially trades. You know, everybody wants a plumber. You know, they're hard to come by, and usually you'll come across one because he's disgruntled, maybe at the company he's currently at. But really, what we try to look for before anything else is the type of people they are. I look for three things when I hire somebody. I look for, okay, are they respectful? You know, are they going to treat our customers right? Are they going to do the right things? And then I look for, you know, responsible. Are they going to do what they say they're going to do? You know, and obviously complete the job, make sure that the customer's taken care of. And then I look for three, resourceful. If they run into a challenge or a hard moment where maybe they don't know quite what they need to do, are they going to sit there and contemplate about, okay, try to figure it out themselves? Or are they going to maybe pick up the phone and call somebody or get creative? That's the kind of people I want to see. That's the kind of people I want to get. I want people that are going to do what it takes to get the job done. You know, because obviously, like, you have a major leak or a drainage issue at somebody's home, and it's tough, hard. Do what you can to make it happen to where we can get that customer taken care of so that they're good to go, their family's taken care of. And so that's what I look for. I look for those traits in people, and sometimes that's not plumbers right now. Sometimes that's an apprentice, you know.
Gotcha.
But I'll hire an apprentice like that any day of the week, because essentially we can groom him into a plumber and teach him all of the trade secrets and what he needs to know. But if he has those qualities, then you can do just about anything with a person like that.
Gotcha. Has your industry been affected much by a lot of the AI centers pulling a lot of trades workers? Is plumbing one that's been kind of, I know a lot of electricians, I'm sure, welders, people in more of those trades. Have you seen kind of a drop-off in hiring pool, or?
Not so much. I think probably, and it probably is due to the fact of we had a plumber that worked for us that had interviewed out there at one point, and I think they work pretty crazy hours. We like to have a good work-life balance. You know, we work 40, 45 hours a week, you know, nothing too crazy. And a lot of the guys that work for us have families, and so they don't want to be out there, you know, 12 hours. It's really good money. They don't want to be out there 12 or every day of the week working 12-hour days. Like, they want to work regularly scheduled jobs. And so I haven't seen it as much in that regard. I'm sure there is some of that happening but to the effect it really hasn't affected us as far as our hiring pool. Honestly, like I haven't seen the effect really at all as far as plumbers go.
Awesome. How are you thinking about competition? You are trying to compete for bids and get the same kind of jobs that maybe a lot more established groups that have been here for a lot longer are doing. How do you think about that competition and where you fit in?
You know what? I think it's okay to have healthy competition. You should. And the customers and people deserve it too. We try not to think too much and compete with the other companies in town because there are some really good other companies in town, you know. What we try to do though, I guess if you could say competing, is like we just try to go out, if we're going to go give an estimate or a bid for some work, we just try to give the most reasonable price that we can that obviously will make us some money, but also will, you know, be able to take care of them. And we do that. We don't really try to concern ourselves too much with what somebody else might be doing. We just kind of focus on the task at hand, I guess. But I don't worry too much about the competition. Honestly, from what I've gathered, you know, I've talked to other managers and owners around that own plumbing companies too, and really everybody's actually been more helpful than anything.
Really?
Yeah, surprisingly so. Like whether that be having a question about something or, you know, anything related to it, like it's been a positive interaction. It hasn't been negative or anything like that. And it's okay. Like we are competing for a lot of the same jobs, but that's okay. Sometimes you get some, sometimes you don't. But at the end of the day, if like the customer's taken care of, that's really what we want happening. And obviously we want that business, but you're not going to get them all. But we try to pretty much, at least for the customers that we do go to, our main goal is to take care of them and then establish them as our, you know, like we want to be their go-to plumber from then. And we just want to keep building a customer base organically. One that, you know, somebody trusts for them to come into their homes. And so that's really our main goal, I would say. And I don't really think we compete too much. We do, but I don't think about it too much, I guess, you know.
That's awesome. So what is, I've heard you say this before, but just kind of doing kind of business the right way. It's kind of like I've heard you talk about this in the past. Just what does that look like for you guys?
First and foremost, that is, you know, when you get a call to go to some customer's house, first and foremost, take care of them. What do we need to do to take care of their issue or their problem? And so you have an understanding of, okay, this is what needs to be done here. Now, the next question usually for each customer is like, okay, how much is this going to cost me? You know, obviously, it's my question too. And so we're really upfront. You know, if it's a small job, usually the plumber already has a set of standard pricing or whatever. And so we're just upfront and we show them, hey, this is what this price is going to cost. You know, obviously there's different things like if you want this added, or if you want to do this, it can be more. But we're up front. We don't have any crazy pricing changes or anything like that, but we just try to be open and honest with them, and then we take care of them. And then if there is ever an issue that, you know, is something that could have been caused by us potentially, we go back and we take care of it. We don't charge anybody anything for that, you know, because I mean, it happens. You'll do something and you'll get a call back because the customer, if they have a complaint about something or, you know, anything that they wanted fixed or they didn't like, you go back and you take care of it. And that's doing things the right way, because you really just want the customer to feel like they're not getting ripped off.
Yeah.
You know, and you're taken care of, and the price is right. And we do take a lot of pride in, you know, when you run into a bid or estimate for a larger job, we obviously collaborate amongst each other to try to figure out what the best pricing and the most honest pricing is for that. And we take a lot of pride in like trying to take the time and figure out, okay, what's appropriate to charge here. And you know, I think when you do things like that, when you're conscientious of, you know, you're not just giving them, it's going to be $6,000, you know, to fix something, like we don't want to do that to anybody because we wouldn't want that done to ourselves. So we put in the effort to try to make sure that the price is right and that the customer's going to get taken care of. And I think that's probably like the simple fact of that's kind of how you need to do business when you're dealing with anybody. You know, then if they have an issue, you go back and you take care of it.
Yeah. That's not like the most exciting answer that like I've heard like businesses say. Basically, is like how like they build their business or how they really generate tons of customers. But the simple kind of better answer is exactly right. It always comes down to: are you fixing their problem? Are you listening to them? Are you working with them? Are you making sure they're going to want to call you back?
Absolutely.
I mean, anything kind of outside of that is it's like the gravy on top of it, but it's absolutely not going to be. I mean, whenever I was kind of starting into business, like I was just like, okay, don't ever make a mistake because you don't want to look like you don't know something. And then it was like, oh no, I'm gonna make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Everyone is gonna make mistakes. Did I handle it? Did I fix it? Did I own up to it? I mean, if someone's gonna leave you or not be a return customer based on like being human, it's not gonna work out anyways.
No,
so, yeah,
and
you seem to have the right mindset.
And one thing too, my brother always said that Chuck and Earl, who are the owners of Earl's, they had always said too, is like, we pick up the phone. You know, like if there is something that isn't right, or if a customer wants a change in something, we pick up the phone and we answer it. We answer those calls, regardless of what happens, because you know, like you said, not everybody's perfect, and so we always try to do what we can to make them as happy as possible and take care of them, you know. And so just simply picking up the phone and talking to people and answering calls solves a lot of problems, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, most issues do come down to communication.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Have you had some customer interactions that kind of reinforce that? Maybe something like a specific job that comes to your mind where you kind of feel like, okay, I need to take care of this the right way, even though this is kind of uncomfortable or puts us in a bad position.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happened. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, but I mean, it's happened to where you might have done something and the customer didn't want it that way or wanted a change or anything like that. Then yeah, we might have to fix it, and it might be something that we can't charge for that, and that's okay. Are they taken care of? That's really simple, because what's going to happen then essentially is, you know, we take care of whatever they want taken care of. They're going to call us back because they know they can trust us and that we're always going to treat them right and do the right thing. And that's important to us, to build a customer base that trusts us. And, you know, I say that's our focal point, and doing that organically too, you know, not trying to rush that, trying to understand that people just want to have things taken care of and have their homes treated properly, and that's what we try to do.
So how do you, in the Abilene location, think about growth for your business? Are you kind of in the mindsets of we're going to slowly grow, or are you trying to kind of swing for the fences a little bit and try and take on as many customers as you can in a year?
So I mean, obviously, like, we want to take advantage of any opportunity that comes our way, but we also are understanding that you don't want to get a little bit too big for your britches too soon, you know. And so we want to grow organically, but we want to also get the work too. It's okay to be a little workload heavy in the plumbing side of things. It keeps you busy, but we do want to have that organic growth. We pretty much want to try to mirror what was done at Lubbock. Lubbock was grown organically. You know, it's a 20-year-old plumbing company that, yeah, I don't know. I think there's 140 employees now, but
wow.
Yeah, and they've just steadily added trucks. You know, there was work there, a little bit too much work, so you add a truck, you know, you add a plumber. And we want to kind of follow that same template that they used. And so we mimic it. The owners give us advice on things that they've done that we should try to do. And so we try to do those same things, really. Obviously, we will try to do some of our own things, you know, as far as marketing or anything like that. But really, we keep it as simple as, yes, we want to grow organically, get a customer base that trusts us, and just continue to constantly be growing. Really is what we want. We want that constant growth and just find consistency in our day-to-day. So,
was that different from the beginning of when you kind of started out with Earl's or Bo, kind of as he was kind of stepping into this role as an owner? Was that something that, like, you guys have grown into this mindset, or, like, at the beginning, was it much different?
It was pretty much established from the get-go of that's kind of how we had figured it would start. It would start off as a slow, you know, you get these slow calls coming in, and, you know, you'd start picking up customers here and there, and then eventually, like, you start gaining some steam, building a base, and building a customer base that can support you. and then obviously getting new customers along the way. And we knew it was going to be a gradual road, and that's okay. We'd kind of we'd planned on that. We just try to get better every day. We try to do the right things and get better every day, and just gradually move into that realm of like, okay, like, hey, we need to add another truck now, and you know, we're to that point now. We're starting to feel that way. So,
Gotcha. Nice. So as you're kind of talking about getting a little bit better every day, what does that look like?
I'd say that goes until for, I think everybody should aspire to be a little bit better every day.
Yeah.
Learn from your mistakes, you know, whether that be me, whether that be anybody. The struggle is good, I think. People kind of veer away from the struggle, the hardness of how things can be, whether it be if a customer's upset or, you know, guys are missing work or whatever the case may be. You struggle through those hard times, and you know, you make mistakes, whether you, oh man, we should have probably bid this for that, or we should have put this project here instead of here for this person. You learn from those things, and you just, okay, so I know next time I won't do that, I'll try this instead. And so that's pretty much what we try to, that's what I try to do, and my guys try to do too. So plumbers usually, you know, will collaborate amongst themselves a lot. And that's a good thing. That's a healthy thing, because what's going to happen is you're going to run into situations where there's so many parts and there's so many different ways that things have been done throughout the years, you know, in all of these homes that you go into. And so you're going to have one technician that sees something for the first time that they've never seen before in their lives. And so they might collaborate. They're going to call, they're going to ask questions about it. That's good. That's what you should do. You know, don't try to just wing it and figure it out for yourself. And so collaboration amongst plumbers is a great thing. Taking some of your pride away and just saying, oh, I'll figure it out, I know exactly what to do. No, we want you to, if you don't know, it's okay. Ask the question, you know, and want customers to ask a lot of questions too. That's a good thing. You know, they feel more comfortable. You build a relationship that way. The plumbers build a relationship that way. And so, yeah, collaboration amongst trades is an excellent thing. It's a healthy thing.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think some of the perception around working in the trades is changing? Like, I'll kind of use the example. When I was going to school, I was in high school. Like, imagine a career day kind of a thing. It was very much like there was a message kind of my entire time in primary school, which was go to college, get a good job, you'll be very successful, yada yada. If you're bad at school, you go into the trades. Like, it was like legitimate. It was so like, it was just like hard. Like, oh yeah, well, if you're struggling in algebra,
you
might
should
look at a trade. And so like there was like this like undercurrent. And then like fast forward to the real world, being in my 20s, being in my 30s, seeing peers who were not great at school and kind of went that trade route, being extremely successful, living extremely good lives. And I don't know, I just kind of feel like the messaging around that when I was growing up was very much of, it was almost looked down upon, but extremely necessary. You realize as an adult.
No, absolutely.
So I don't know if any of that had ever like been in your world.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had the same thing happen.
You're looking at me like, wow, what a jerk, man.
No,
like, what are you talking about?
Because
yeah,
I was the, you know, honestly, I was the guy that didn't have the most success in school, and, you know, didn't really enjoy it a whole lot. And so that's why I went and decided to do a trade. But, you know, I don't think, obviously, like, you have to have the trades, you know, but you also need people that go to get those, you know, traditional college degrees as well, because they have super important jobs also. It depends on the person, you know. I would say both have their benefits, you know, but you need both too. I would say that honestly, I think everybody needs to have some general concept of how to do certain things in their home, whether that be, you know, a little bit of plumbing or electrical, you know, just general knowledge is good to have. All that knowledge is good to have. But, you know, there's some people that just aren't suited for they'll be suited more to be maybe a lawyer or something like that. I don't know, just take that as an example. But, you know, they're really detail oriented. They don't mind reading through a lot of legal documents or whatever. Like, there's just some people that aren't made for that. There's some people that are. And I think both are necessary. I mean, to be honest with you, like, my kids, I want them to have a little bit of both. honestly. I mean, I want them to go to college because I think having a degree is super important, but it teaches you at least, I think, from, a commitment standpoint too, of like, you go to somebody that either or, to a trade school or to a college, you have to commit to that trade school or that college, and that's okay. That's what you want. And so I think we do need more though. We do need more kids flowing through the trade school, just because this younger generation is coming up, and we want them to be suited to be successful down the road as well. And so I think both are essential.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so many more avenues also for people to go into
absolutely.
trades. So like I think the stat is basically Abilene has more opportunities to go to colleges and trades, more secondary education than pretty much anywhere in the country right now.
And that's great too.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so it's kind of like this like down the line effect of people coming through, say, the centers through AISD, and specifically all of their programs.
Oh, yeah. And
the generation of people going into trades in 5 to 10 years is going to look wildly different.
No, and I mean, I know they have the TSTC here, and like they're doing amazing things as well. And I think that you have to have those trades, obviously, and we want them to continue to grow because you have to have that. You have to have the boots on the ground a little bit,
right,
that are doing the day-to-day work and stuff like that. But it's been a good thing, and Abilene, I think, is growing in the right direction. I think they're trying to do the right things. The one thing I would like to see, I think, would be a little bit more of, we have some young guys that will come and try to, will hire on with us and step into a role, and they usually, their knowledge is pretty minimum. Obviously, they've never had to do a ton of certain type of labor. And so, obviously, like, you have to go through that portion of training them and having them learn all those new skills. But if you get somebody, but really it's the willingness to learn and the willingness to work. If somebody wants to do those things and wants to grab that knowledge and then they want to work hard for it, you can do great things. Even if you're maybe not the most skillful person in the world, you have those traits and you try real hard and you always try to do your best. You have those traits, you're gonna do good things.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's something that either people from just the outside of your world, it could be customers, it could be people outside of business, whatever it may be. What's something that someone maybe understands about your line of work or what you guys do?
Maybe somebody that misunderstands
yeah,
it.
What's something that they would misunderstand about what you guys do?
I don't know if people really realize how talented some of these plumbers locally are, and not just plumbers, and I'm talking other trades too, and how smart they are. I mean, these guys do pretty amazing work in homes and in facilities or wherever they do, and they are so smart and so talented and hard workers. And I think we used to have this perception of, plumbers or maybe not the brightest people in the world or something like that. You see it on, television shows or anything like that, but you have to have some skill and some talent, and they do. I mean, it's amazing if you think about it like this, there's plumbers out there that you have a slab leak, say for example, in your home, that it's just leaking water somewhere random. That slab leak could be coming out at one part of your house, but the leak can actually be, 50 feet away or something like that. These guys are smart enough to figure out how to locate that, and that takes some skill. It's not an easy job. They've made equipment now that can help you with that. But no, I would say that, there is so much talent floating around this town, and yeah, those trade guys, they are super bright and they know what they're doing, and it's very impressive. I mean, I've seen it firsthand, and I was a welder for 13 years, I guess, and so I've seen a whole lot of different types of people, along the way, but there's a lot of smart plumbers in Abilene, and they do really great work and a lot of prideful work too. So.
All right, so what would be something that you guys are pretty proud of in the time that you've been running your shop?
I think the team we've established right now, we're super proud of. We have some guys in some positions they're just awesome. I mean, they come to work every day. They're willing to do whatever it takes. That's what I'm most proud of, is a team that is just willing to do what it takes to get any job done. And that's one thing we want to keep building on is, okay, so we want to keep getting people like we have now. That's our goal, is to get those people that are, respectful, responsible, and resourceful, which is what we have. And they always are trying to do the right things. They're asking questions. They're talking amongst themselves to try to figure out what would be the best solution to fix this or to do that. And so that's our goal, is to get more guys like that, that want to have success in life. And so they want to do a good job. They want to continue to learn. I think a thirst for learning is extremely important in the plumbing industry, because you can just always keep learning and learning and learning. There's new things that they're coming out with, or there's old things that, you run into repiping a house that was built in 1930. It happens all the time here in Abilene. You see old cast iron piping all over the place. But yeah, I think that's what I'm most proud of, though, is our team. They've just exceeded my expectations, and their willingness to do what it takes to do the job well and to take care of the customer. So,
what is something that you're excited about for this next year?
I would say I'm excited about to see where our growth goes. Obviously, like, we want to continue to add trucks regularly, and so I see that probably in our near future, and just continuing to try to transcend in that positive direction of continuous growth organically, like not trying to rush it, but just trying to consistently keep it flowing, keep it going, building a base. But yeah, I'm excited about this year. We have some long-term work that's scheduled as well, and so that helps it out. That gives you a little bit of a breathing room, and so that gives you opportunity to go for things that you want to go for, and to hit goals, that you've set for yourself. So
nice. Mm-hmm. And where can people find you, keep supporting you, connect with you guys?
Yeah, so we have callearls.com website. You can go, and they has a ton of information about any kind of plumbing question you might have. There's a lot of tabs you can click on if you have certain questions, whether that be, water heater, drainage, softeners, any kind of filtration. And then we also have a Facebook page, for the Abilene branch as well. So yeah, if you have any questions or concerns, you can get on either one of those, reach out to us, and that's where you can find us at, though, man.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Stephen.
Appreciate it. Mm-hmm.